Okay, so it is the 25th of July, and this is the AeroGear community meeting. So we can jump straight into it. So I think the first thing we do is take a review of the actions that are in the to-do column and see what state they're at. So we'll start from the top, define what a code owner is. So I think I saw a mail about this. Dara, did you send the mail about this?
Yes, I did actually. Did I? Oh, I sent an email, and then Jose sent a similar email as well.
Okay. And what was the outcome of that email? Do we know what a code owner is? And have we added it to the community section?
I think what happened was like the two emails got sent out at almost the exact same time, and I think it kind of just looked like we messed up, and then nobody responded to the emails. So yeah, this hasn't been progressed.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I'll leave that in to do then, and maybe we can send out another email, and people might respond to that one. And if they don't, we can start bribing people to respond on it. It'd be nice to know what a code owner is. Okay, the second one.
I'm fully accepting of bribes.
Aren't we all? Okay, the second one, remove walkthrough from the mobile core docs where info is available on docs.aerogear.org. That's quite a confusing sentence to say. Paul, do you have an update on this?
My update is that I haven't completed that task, but it is on my to-do list. I hope to finish it, or at least make some progress soon.
Okay, supery dupery. I'm going to leave this in to do as well, and we can revisit it on the next meeting, I guess, if you're happy with that, Paul.
Yeah, perfect. That makes sense.
Perfecto. The third one, remove references to Digger and Build Farm from 5x resources, APPs, docs, repos names, Docker image names. Mobile CI/CD should be used instead. This is super duper interesting. Laura, tell me more.
Yes, I still need to create that Jira epic actually, and reach out to people in terms of getting the changes made. So that one will have to stay in to do as well. I'll put it high on my to-do list.
Okay, we're 3 for 3 on to-dos. That's perfect. Well done, everybody. Okay, so I think the next thing we do is we take like a minute or something, like a while to vote on the new items. And if anyone has something they want to add, there's still time to add it. So everybody, I'll give it like a minute or something, and vote on the cards or add cards if you want.
Folks, I'm not able to add cards, for example. I think just the team that is working with the project is able to add cards. Should it not be something that everybody will be allowed?
Hey, Camilla, have you joined the board?
Yep.
There's a button, it should be on the right of your screen that says join board. And when you press that, you'll join the board.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there.
I think it's only for Red Hat Mobile team, and someone needs to add her on this team.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Do you have your username, Camilla?
Yeah, there are also links in chat that will let you join the board and give you the invite. So if you click one of those, you should have the, if it's not showing up, if you click that link, you should see it then.
Okay, good. Now it's fine. Thank you.
Okay, I wasn't actually counting, so I'll give it like 20 more seconds, because I should have counted. But we'll be fine. Oh, there should be... Have you ever seen that show Countdown? Do they have that show Countdown everywhere? You know, they have the countdown clock. It's like, bing! That's what we should have. We should have a countdown clock. If nobody knows what that is, Google countdown clock. Okay, cool. I think that's everything. So we already had one in agenda.next, and I don't want to move it out, even though it's got less thumbs up, so we can discuss that. We've got 5 thumbs. That's a pretty impressive amount of thumbs. And we've got a few 4, but I'll just take the one from the top. So those are our 3 discussion points. I think we got about 10 minutes for each of them. We'll see how it goes. So the first one, documentation links. As the release of AG Mobile said, oh, that's really long. Paul, you added this. Do you want to talk about it?
I suppose we have a set of documents now in docs.aerogear.org, and I'm just wondering whether it's a good idea to start planning for, as those documentation URLs change, how we're going to handle that change. Like, do we want to set up redirects, or do we want people to... I suppose there's a couple of ways we could handle this. One is to version the documents, so to say, well, that was 1.00, let's leave that in place with all the problems associated with that. That would be my preference. And then always have the latest as a complete documentation set. Or the other way of approaching it is to set up redirects and try to bring people to where we think they want to go.
Okay. Does anyone have any opinions on the approach to go? Paul, it seems you favor the first approach of versioning.
One thing we might want to think about is also for 404s under the like docs path. So if say somehow an old document does get removed, if all of our docs are following some sort of naming convention, we'll be able to catch that and be like, oh, it looks like you were looking for this. We're sorry, it's moved. Here's a link back to, the docs route.
Right, that's a redirect, that's my understanding of a redirect. We do currently handle 404s. If you just put in some random, text there, it will say page not found and offer you, what it will offer you when we do release more versions of mobile services, it will give you a menu of the various releases associated with mobile services. Is that enough?
Yeah. I was just looking at the, for people who bookmarked and linked to docs that might get removed, I was wondering if there's anything we can do to make those dead links a little bit more informative, because a lot of times docs follow like patterns, but I mean, it was just a suggestion.
Sure. Can we say decided? Let's version the docs.
Yeah, sounds good to me. If no one has any objections. Okay, so how shall we word this? Version.
Version the docs.
Docs.
It's
Bang.
simple as that.
Okay, cool. So we've got version the docs. Paul, can I assign that to you as a memory thing?
Sure.
Super. I'm like a Trello genius here. Oh, no, just did something wrong. Okay, cool. I'm going to put that. Nope, now it's discussed. I forgot to put it into under discussion. Okay. Spreading the word of AeroGear. This one sounds cool. Okay, Jose, it looks like you added this. Do you want to discuss it?
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I basically think we should we should be more aggressive approaching the users or potential users. I think we have the Twitter account, but nobody is really following it, I think. And we have the webpage, which is kind of dull and flat. And I don't know, we should, like go there and spread the word about AeroGear. What do you think, guys?
That makes sense to me. I think there's another card somewhere as well, but for videos, we have a YouTube channel, but the videos are kind of hacky as well and not very well maintained. So it'd be nice to have a nice maintained Twitter and some blogs available. I wonder how we would go about doing that. Does anyone have any ideas?
I mean, we could create a social team that's responsible for doing all of that, but that sounds more like marketing. We could reach out to marketing or OSAS and see what they do, or we could just, as part of the community meeting, take 5 minutes for like, hey, who's got some ideas for some blog posts, and hey, who is going to write these blog posts by next week? And then at the end of the next week, be like, hey, look, we have blog posts. Okay, let's do that again. And try to, get 1 or 2 posts a week that we post to link on aerogear.org and then share out on various social medias. That's probably the doiest of things I could think of.
The
Do
only
you think it's a good idea to
sorry,
to
the
share
only
what we are?
limitation. Wait, stop.
All right, I'll wait.
The only limitation I see for this card is obviously the time. It's very time consuming thing for us developers to do these kind of things. Even just like for Twitter, we should make use of some community manager or something, someone that really knows how to, share the ideas. And for the blogs, yeah, like Summer said, it's a good idea to propose, but then someone has to actually write it in a very cool way. And then there are the other aspects, which are, I think, more important even, which are the inside events or, real social events, like just organizing some meetups in, say, Waterford office, or going to some local gatherings or other local meetups or conferences and just show the project. And that again is very time consuming, and I don't know if if we should or could like stop actually working on development things and invest time on those other things. Like even for me as a non English speaker, it would take considerable amount of time writing a blog or just preparing some presentation in English.
Maybe it not being in English is a good thing, because, like, I don't know, maybe if I know that we have large, like Red Hat has large community bases in, Brazil and in Europe, and so maybe having a collection of Congress that isn't of content that isn't English language might be good. Like, even if it's just repeating a demo that someone else did and doing it in Czech or Portuguese or Spanish. That might be a long way to go just to pad out our content, even if it's a lot of the same content over and over again, just with a different pretty face and a different voice on it.
Just one thing, if the community of the product currently is the Red Hat employees that is not actually working directly developing it, if we share more things, like a cheese event, for example, why not sharing the Red Hat lists, to invite the people? Because I think me, for example, I didn't know about the calendar. So I saw a few time ago the forum, but I didn't assign. So I didn't receive the notification, so something like that, using more the company to try build the community first and after go outside.
Yeah, I can maybe talk to that, Camilla, a bit. The calendar is pretty recent, and it did go through a change. Initially, I had created it just on my own Red Hat email address, so that meant that the events weren't public. So it had just changed over to a different calendar, which I sent on the AeroGear mailing list. So it's possible it just got lost in emails, but it should have. If anyone needs the link, just let me know, but it did go on a mail. In terms of the publicizing it in Red Hat, I think there's one outstanding task on the release, which is to communicate kind of somewhat wider across Red Hat that we have this release. I think it was communicated inside mobile, but we want to push that a little bit wider soon. So I'm following up with Jason around that, just about what the plan is for that. Also, in terms of conference attendance, like, I think generally that's encouraged, because obviously if we have I know it's time consuming, but if we have a community outside of our team, that's going to mean we have more people working on it. So even though initially it might take some time away from engineering, I think it would be good to promote it as well. So I think it's time well spent as well. But obviously, if it's travel and time out, just reach out to your manager if you need to action to add calendar to the site. I actually have a PR open which has the calendar change added in there. So it's just the Google iframe, like really simple, just added the Google view. So I did send it earlier. I'll send it again on the IRC, just if anyone has time to review that. There's a good few changes in it, so maybe let's review it and get it merged, and I can do follow-on changes there as well. But yeah, great idea to have the calendar on the site as well.
I think Jamil had a pretty good comment here as well. Are all the recordings being made publicly available? I'm not too sure of the answer to that for the community meetings.
Yes, they are. So we're using BlueJeans at the moment just because that's what we're familiar with. There was some discussion around doing it in Google Hangouts, which I think could work for us because you can automatically push the recording to YouTube, so to the AeroGear YouTube channel. But what I'm doing at the moment is, because it's on my ID, I can go into BlueJeans, make it publicly available. So even outside the org. So I'm changing that setting right after the meeting. So the link that gets sent in the summary mail that the facilitator sends, that one is publicly available, and the Google Calendar event is publicly available as well now because it's on the aerogear.project@gmail.com email address.
Question on the recordings, are they being accumulated? Is there a list of them anywhere you can see this is the date for this? And I think it might just be a good idea to add it to the community page of the aerogear.org so that you can just find them all in one place rather than looking through your email.
I think that's a good idea. Are you happy to have that as action?
Yeah, if someone wants to take that and create the PR, that would be great. I think, do I have a meeting? Yeah, so see on the left-hand column in about this board.
Where am I?
The very leftmost column.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so see the meeting summaries card. So
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind on updating the links, but I will update them there, and it's basically to the mail that gets sent, the summary mail. So the BlueJeans recording links will be in there, but I'll also, I'm about 3 minutes behind, so I'll update that, and that can be used then for the PR.
Okay, cool. Jamil, would you be happy if I assign that to you?
Sure.
Free dupery. Okay, I think for the conference attendance, we do have an initial list of conferences and events where we can present the services in action. Perhaps that would help towards at least the conference side of this, allowing people to know where they can talk. I don't think we can put a gun to people's heads and make them, but we can definitely help them out. And for the blog writing, I don't know, does anyone have an idea about an action for blog writing? Maybe to help promote blog writing? Maybe somebody who's written a blog before could just go through it and show people how easy it is to write a blog. I know for me it's quite nerve-wracking, the idea of putting yourself out there. So I don't know if anyone would like to volunteer.
Maybe we should ask someone who might be able to get this approved, but just pin rewards on Red Hat Funbucks for every blog post we put until we get a certain number of blog posts out. Like, if we get 5 blog posts a month out, everyone who wrote a blog post gets 10 reward zone points or something like that.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could look into that idea. Is everyone okay with that as an idea to look into?
With the Red Hat developer blog program, you get free stuff after every couple of blog posts, so that's an option too. So you could write it for that, but also publish it to aerogear.org as well.
Okay, cool. Maybe just a mail letting people know that that's an actual thing where you can get free stuff for writing blogs might be good. An action for that, perhaps.
Aidan, just a conference one as well. That one had come up as a discussion point a little while ago. I can't remember exactly which meeting, but there is something there in the in progress column, which is creating an initial list of conference/events where we can go and present AeroGear mobile services. So I had sent an email just asking people to let me know if they were confirmed for any conferences, and that we could put a news article on the aerogear.org website. So the PR is still currently open. I think I got one person came back to me, Summers, I think it was. And so I just ask if there's anybody else who is confirmed that they're attending something, just reply to that email. And if I don't get anything sort of in the next 24 hours, I'll just add Summers and merge the PR, because it's still just sitting there waiting to be merged at the moment.
Okay, cool. And maybe even if you're not attending a conference, maybe if you know about a conference that somebody else might be able to attend, throw it up there and make people aware of the conferences that are going on. Okay, cool. I think. Oh wait, that's not the right one. This one. I think we've covered a lot of what's in there, apart from perhaps the tweets. I don't know who has access to that Twitter account, and is there anyone who would like to maybe manage it or keep it up to date, perhaps?
I believe the credentials are in the engineering KeyPass.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, at least they are for the Gmail, which I think is also hooked up to the YouTube account. If not, I think either maybe Massimo or, sorry, not Massimo, Matthias, or Passos might be able to help us, but I think they might be in there.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out and follow up after this call then. I think we've just about reached the limit on the time on this one, so I'm going to move it to discussed. Oh, whoa, I thought those labels magically appeared. Oh, you click on them. Okay, anyway, set up maintenance of community OpenShift cluster. So the core team have been asked to look at standing up a community cluster for us. A bunch of other information. Is there anybody on, oh, this was added by John, who I assume is not on the call. Is there anybody on the core team who has any information about the discussions in the core team?
It's work in progress, basically, but I believe it was put on hold a little bit because of the shared services operator work stuff. So might be better give Mike a ping in RC to check the status on that one.
Okay, cool. Was there anything like, was there something that was meant to be discussed around this apart from just its status?
Hello, Aiden. Here's Thomas Reppel speaking. So basically, as far as I can tell, the community cluster is ready, but no mobile services are provisioned on running on it yet. And also, the DNS is not set up at the moment, so it's accessible on some temporary URL, and the public announcement is planned once there is a nice URL and a setup for the community cluster to be accessible on. So that's the current status. But I think this is more about, once we have it, we need to have some rules, I would say, what is okay to do with it, what is not okay to do with it, and what is sort of okay if it's just a temporary, if the person makes sure that once they're finished, the cluster works as before. So maybe something to think of, like what is rules should look like, and where to document it, so it's clear what the community can do with it and what is not allowed.
Thanks for that, Thomas. Does anyone have any opinions on a response to that? I guess for where the stuff should be documented, probably on aerogear.org somewhere. But does anyone have any opinion on what should be done with it? What should not be allowed to be done with it? And who's going to maintain and support it? Thomas, do you know anything around that? Who's the owner of the cluster?
So I've just read some user stories in a Trello board of core team, and it seems that the maintenance should be the task for community itself. So there's not going to be any specific person dedicated for the maintenance. So yeah, I think we will just see how it works in reality, but yeah, no specific person dedicated to maintenance is planned.
Yeah, I think, Aidan, one of the original asks was that we get the services stood up in there, and that you could spin up the showcase apps, and the services are there to back the showcase apps. So, like we looked at it yesterday, the cluster is up, and under community.gunkhenry.com, they're going to move it to community.aerogear.com, I think, when they get access to DNS. But I think the reason why John put the card in here is, yeah, who's going to maintain it and what are the rules around that?
Thanks, Chris. And do you know who's meant to be setting up these services? Is that the core team who's meant to be setting up the services?
Yeah, so there's, from the last sprint, it was 2 or 3 cards on the core team's backlog. So as I said, the actual cluster is up, and they had an Ansible installer for setting that up on an instance of OpenShift, putting the mobile next on, and then there's another card for provisioning the services into a namespace, but that's not completed yet. And there is another card around a kind of CI/CD pipeline for that as well, so that's not completed yet either.
Okay, cool. I'm not quite sure what actions we can get out of this. I don't know if we can decide who's going to maintain the cluster. We could probably send out a mail asking if anybody wants to. But I'm not sure how actionable this card is. It might be more of a discussion point for now, and perhaps something to follow up on later on, once everything's all set up.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, Aidan, that we might, once everything's set up on the cluster, we might swing back around here, because it's still kind of in the hands of the core team if they still have a couple of stories there. So we can maybe pop it back, and there's a label further discussion needed, so we could revisit it again once there's kind of an official closeout of the core team being responsible for the work. Does that make sense?
Sounds good to me. Oh, David Carvin, I see. I'm going to write that in here. Would like to be involved, just so we don't forget it. Okay, so we'll move that back. I don't know if we want to try another one. We've got 4 minutes left, or shall we just leave it? Okay, let's see what this one is. Oh, that's quite technical. Okay, I'd be voting for just leaving this, because I think this one could get quite deep. The custom runtime connector, it's quite technical. If that's okay with you, Laura?
Yeah, fine with me, but not up to me. Up to everybody else is happy to close it out. Then yeah, let's do that.
We've got a few let's leave it. Yeah, if you want to throw a +1 in there. Okay. Yeah, let's leave it. All right. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks.